All right, welcome to this week's podcast. I got Reagan here with me. We're going to talk about the surprising report from last Friday, the jobs report. It was a weak report, but the markets didn't seem to care that much about it. We'll talk about that. Before we do that, ISM, I don't know if you've heard of the ISM Manufacturing and Services. They came in above 50 means growth, below 50 means they're expecting contraction. As we've seen with ISM, you look historically, manufacturing was really negative for the last 3 or so years, but this year we've had 6 months now of really strong growth. ISM services has been strong for years. That's usually a pretty good indication our economy's doing well. Do y'all use ISM in your classes at all? Is that a common?
I haven't run into it for any of my classes as of yet, but what would be the indication of the growth of the ISM? You said that for the past 3 years it's been down. So what do you think is the reason for the sudden growth or boom?
Well, manufacturing, when we had the supply shock coming out of COVID and then the inflation of 2022, manufacturing had some really huge supply shocks. And they've recovered now. They're doing much better. You would think this year would be bad with energy prices up. You would think that'd be really harmful for manufacturing, but they've done all right. They've had a strong year. Services, the service industry has done all right. It's held up and it's been pretty strong in the US. The market doesn't follow the services as closely as manufacturing, even though manufacturing is a smaller percentage. It's just been a better predictor. If you look at it over time, you can see how 2026 has really turned around for manufacturing. And you look back coming out of that 2022 supply shock and inflation, just how manufacturing really dropped below 50. So below 50 is contraction, above 50 is growth. 2026, every month this month has been well above 50. So that's a good indication. In services, very few below 50 on the services. It's been very, very, very strong. So that's good. Offsetting that was payroll on Friday. So as I tell students, when payroll comes out, usually the first Friday of the month, and here we had it come out on the first Friday, even though it was a holiday. So markets were closed, but it came out. So it's an important report. If you're doing an interview on the first Friday of the month, you better know what payroll did. Don't walk into the interview. So it was a weak number. They were expecting 113,000 jobs to be added and only got 57,000. And then they revised the prior 2 months down quite significantly. If you think about May, the May report came in at 172,000 and the markets just freaked out from that number. And it started people thinking that Fed's going to raise rates. Well, now they've revised that number down from 172 to 129. So it's probably having some impact on people's expectations for the Fed this year, although we'll see it wasn't that big of an impact. The good news might be that the unemployment rate fell 4.2%, but that's really not all that good of a number because the participation rate, labor force participation rate actually fell to 61.5 from 61.8. That just means it wasn't that more people got a job, it was that more people just dropped out of the labor force and that artificially brought the unemployment rate down.
What do you think made them drop out of the labor force, and why was the actual so much lower compared to the expected?
The best I can guess, if you look at the jobs report, look at that June number, what color do you notice?
I noticed the deep purple, which is
Uh,
leisure and hospitality.
Leisure and hospitality. My guess is that might be affecting both. I don't know the leisure hospitality well, but if people are dropping out of the workforce, if hotels aren't getting full, if airlines aren't selling, those are the kind of people who might say, you know what, I'm going to go back to school or I'm going to drop out. So it is skewed. And I think that's one reason why we're going to see stock markets didn't react that strongly to this report. Even bond markets didn't. I think when you have one industry dominate the report, people think that's just a blip. That's 1 month. Let's look at next month and see what happens. So that may be what's going on. We just have one particular segment of the market or the economy has had a bad month. One bad month is not a trend. There's the labor participation rate. Look how low that thing is.
Back in 2020?
It's 2020 is COVID,
Yes.
but we're well below pre-COVID levels. So our workforce, some people say maybe that's because baby boomers are retiring. Who knows what's going on, but we have a much smaller labor force than we had pre-COVID. And this last month, unexpectedly, that participation rate just really nosedived. Um, Now, I would have thought the probability of rate increases would have dropped last week. They were saying there's 80% chance the Fed would raise rates. I would have thought it would have dropped down below 70, but it only dropped down to 77%. So people are still expecting the Fed to raise rates this year. The no change group went from 20% to 23%, but not a big change. So I was surprised. I thought Friday's report, now maybe if markets had been open on Friday, you would have seen a bigger reaction.
But due to the 4th of July, it was cut off to 4 days instead of the previous 5 days.
Right, and they had some time to think about it on weekend. Maybe they saw that hospitality and leisure and said, you know what, let's wait a month. Here's the graph over time. You can see the probability of a rate increase just dropped just slightly. Still well above where we were back a few months ago, but it's kind of bouncing around. So how did markets react? So strong week for the markets. S&P up 1.3%. That's a good week for stocks. Value stocks had a great week. Small cap down slightly, but small cap, we'll see, have been the champions this year. So they took a little bit of a breather, still up dramatically for the year. But yeah, value stocks, we've been pushing value stocks and they've been having a pretty good year. They do still look cheap to me. Small cap are starting to look expensive to me. If you look for the year, the amazing thing, small cap are up 22% for the first 6 months. How many years has it been since they had a 22% 6 months?
I believe you
Yeah,
said 30 years or
35
35
years.
years.
Yeah, their
Yes.
best 6 months, first half of the year for 35 years. We've been pushing small cap. I've been recently pulling back. I pulled back a little too fast. They're starting to look expensive to me again, but they were definitely cheap when we started pushing them. So hopefully people are listening to us. I'm still overweight on value stocks. I still think they look like a good deal, and they have had a good year, beating the S&P by quite a bit. Oil is obviously still up a bunch after the Iran conflict. It's down from its highs, but still up for the year. Gold is down just because it was up so much
Yeah.
in the previous year. If you look at small cap versus the S&P versus mid cap, small cap has consistently been beating the S&P. Small cap and mid cap are right together for the first 3 months or so, but small cap has really taken off these last few days. I'm not saying get out of small cap. I just think it's they had their rally. We're expecting it. Obviously, small cap will not do well if we have a recession. So, there's some, I don't know if I'd be materially underweight small cap, but I've pulled back on my significant overweight.
So,
International,
not to cut you off, Professor. So people should watch for the small cap. Make sure that they're watching it carefully so that they don't get pulled under their feet. Is that what you're saying?
well, if they were underweight and now they see the big rally and say, well, maybe I should get into small cap, that huge outperformance for small cap, in my opinion, took them from cheap to expensive.
Mm.
And so I went from strong overweight, I was really overweight small cap, to now more neutral.
Okay.
So I would warn people, say, wow, small cap are a bunch, they got up a bunch, they got a lot more to run. I'm not so sure how strong that run's going to be. We've seen some articles saying they've got more room to go. I'm more in the value camp, that value still has more room to run, but who knows? It's had a good run, an unexpectedly strong run. You look at US versus developed markets. Developed markets had a good week this last week, mainly because of Europe. Europe had a really strong week this last week. Emerging markets underperformed. A lot of that is what we've been talking about. South Korea has been so strong. They pulled back some this last week. But if you look for the full year, for the first 6 months, South Korea has been the outperformer. And Japan, the other one, up 39%. So the reason emerging markets is doing so strong is you're seeing countries like South Korea just having strong, especially Asian markets having a strong year. Both South Korea and Japan, Japan hit that record crossing 70,000. Both of those were election related. They both
Oh,
have new leaders that are really focusing on reforming their stock markets, and you're seeing the stock markets rewarding them. I wish I had overallocated South Korea, but I wasn't even thinking about it. I was reading the news about South Korea and the impeachment and all the turmoil,
yeah.
and completely missed that this new person coming in was such a strong reformer. He was somewhat quiet, and I think the market was somewhat taken by surprise. Japan, their new leader, she looked really interesting, very strong leader, was talking and about, some pretty important reforms, and I think there could be more room to run there. But interesting to see a market like South Korea up 100% in 6 months.
In my opinion, South Korea was definitely a surprise because it is true what you said. They did do a lot of turnovers. I believe they went through a couple of presidency within
Right.
a couple of months. So to truly see them go from where they were to where they are now truly is a big surprise that none of us were expecting, along with Japan, of course.
Yeah, Japan would hit because she was so much in the news. People were
Yeah,
talking about her. I think South Korea, because it was so stealth. So we were talking about the impeachment so much that no one was really focused on who's the person going to take his place. And that he comes in, he says, I'm going to take all these cabals and all these strong industry, big company, powerful forces. I'm going to reform our stock market. And I think the surprise, people are like, wow, South Korea has needed this for years and years and years, and now they finally had it. And so I think that one could actually run more because there are some great companies in South Korea that have been pulled down because of the just kind of the bad regulation of the market. So we'll watch. It's hard to say invest in a market that's already up 100%,
yeah, it is.
but some great companies there. Bond market sold off this week. We couldn't really find a good answer. You look at that, all of it happened the last day of the month. On, on June 30th, interest rates shot up 9 basis points that day. That's a pretty serious sell-off in markets, but bond markets, but we could not find a good reason for it. The stock market was actually up on June 30th. So we could not find a news article. If someone wants to tell us why that particular day the bond market decided, we got to adjust rates. For the year, the bond market rallied really, really strong. And through February, where interest rates actually fell below 4%. But then the Iran conflict, energy prices, inflation, a more hawkish Fed, you saw a huge
That
reversal
was a
in
crazy,
March,
crazy month for everyone. Nobody was expecting for that to happen.
right? And the bond market especially went from we're expecting the Fed to cut, we're expecting the Fed to raise rates, a new Fed chairman, all that stuff at once. The bond market had a pretty good sell-off. And it's continued to sell off since then, not as dramatically, April, May, and June, but every month we've seen interest rates rise. We did see interest rates rise above 4.5% in June. They did finish the month slightly below 4.5%. That's somewhat of a psychological number. I actually think 5% is even more psychological, 4 and 5. You drop below 4%, that's more the Fed's cutting rates, inflationary problems, employment's weak. Above 5, we're really worried about inflation. So I think we're somewhat in between those two extremes. And so we'll see what works out. All right. I don't know if you have an interview this week, but if I were walking into an interview this week, this is what I would want to make sure I was aware of. Those strong ISM reports continue to show that the US economy is really the envy of the world. Both manufacturing and services continue to show strength, especially manufacturing this year. A weak jobs report with prior months being revised down, that's a concern. Maybe there's something going on with employment. But given that was skewed by one industry, maybe we wait and see what happens next month. The Fed, not big change in expectations there. One thing we will see this Wednesday is we get the minutes from the Fed's June meeting. And with Warsh as their new leader, those might be some interesting minutes to read. You might bring that up that, I really want to see those Fed minutes on Wednesday just to see how Warsh is running that committee. Global stocks, we're seeing strong markets this last week. And then for the first half of the year, definitely going to interview knowing small cap, South Korea, Japan, strong in South Korea and Japan. Those are election based markets. Elections can move stock markets. And bond markets had a bad week. We can't give you a good answer for that. Don't know why that happened. Especially last Tuesday, sometimes markets just surprise and they move without much answer. You try to find an answer. What I tell my students, don't use the word because if you don't know what words are going to follow it. So if
Absolutely.
you don't know, just say, hey, I don't know why the market react like that. Sometimes our bosses want us to say because and give an answer and we make stuff up. I can't give a good answer on that. We looked through Bloomberg to try to find why the bond market sell off so much last Tuesday and just could not find a good answer. So if you got that going into an interview, you're probably ahead of 99% of college students interviewing for jobs.
And just one more time, Professor, for people who are not aware what the ISM stands for, um, give it to them one more time.
It gets really confusing because there were two entities, ISM and PPM. So ISM is the Institute of Supply Management. You also have the Purchasing Manager, I can't remember, Purchasing Manager Index. They're very, very, very similar. They broke off. It gets really confusing. I use the ISM. It's essentially, it's the people in the operations of a firm, and they're being asked a survey of what do they see over the next 6 months. So they have different questions. They ask them about new orders, about employment, about inflation. This is the headline number. Sometimes the new orders is more important, especially on the ISM manufacturing. So you watch that number. Um, but it's one of the indicators on the leading economic indicators to say where do we think our economy will be in 6 months, and it's one of the best predictors. And the ISM services has not been really that much of impact on predicting the economy or stock market, but the ISM manufacturing continues to be an important input. The fact that it's well above 50 just means that our economy is probably in pretty good shape. It's a pretty good indication that we will not have a recession next 6 months. Obviously, you could have a surprise, something major comes out of left field. But right now, that's a good indication. You know, the US economy has been the envy of the world the last several years. It's just been really strong where Europe has struggled. So that's a good indication that that can continue. All right, good job, man. Thanks for joining me this week.
Thank you, Professor.